USA.
A lot of people make jokes about spacing somebody, about shoving somebody out an airlock. I don't think it's funny.
Elon, you know what we need to do? Buy the spell. Let's do it the right way. My way, my scripts, my voice. I just wanna fix Ray, make man a Jedi. 981. 981. Elon, help me prove I'm not a fake fan, 'cause I'll never be a real man. Elon.
It's Thursday night. This is The Spacing, and I am your host, Tim. I am the culture war realist, rational individualist, the expanded universe absolutist. I am the alpha with nostalgia. I know the Lord of the Core. I storage in the origin. I know the record like a tech nerd. I got the hot takes for the bot fix, and most importantly, I am never a victim. Welcome once again to the premier channel when it comes to the history of the franchise and the lore of Star Wars and many other properties, franchises, universes, and whatever else you want to call them. Hit the like button, share the link on all platforms. We are live on YouTube and on the Rumble side. It's going to be good. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to try and get through it quick. I know everyone's had a really long week. So let's see whom we have with us tonight. We've got King Chris, super member, saying howdy, because guess what, guys? We say howdy here. And I hate these new ads. I don't know if anyone ever figured that out yet. I'm looking over here on the YouTube side. Scroll back up here. And I think that's supposed to be Mike. Nope, it's still that way. So that sucks. OG Star Wars top tier member of the channel and good friend in the house. I agree. Hit that like button, guys, and share the link out there on every platform. Darth Felix is with us over there on the Rumble side. You see that icon right there. Double A is with us, flying the USA flags. Yep, and we'll talk about that later in just a bit here, actually. Thanks, King Chris. We got Justin, the Star Wars Marvel purist, over on the Rumble side. And Grizzy has rated the stream. Thank you very much, Grizzy. Make sure anyone new is hitting the follow button. Black Metal Nazgul is in the house. SWA is here. Holy Shitful is here, always showing up. Everyone greeting each other. You love to see it. Gabriel Knight, super member, is in the chat on the Rumble side. Tehalim29 is here. Melissa Lord, first ever member of the channel in the house. Decrepit's here. Loving the spacing. Standby. Lineman95. Jacob's probably lurking. Yeah, probably. Gordon McDonald is in the house. Command Post Gaming. Volume issue. No, it's long story there. I'll have to. That'll get edited out anyway. The standby always does, and whatever's after it up until the actual intro. Disney Crybaby Trooper. Yeah, man. Like, that video from a month ago is still, like, really sinking in. So what a complete buffoon. And he's going to come up tonight. Don't you worry about it. We got some stuff saved to the computer to talk about. Let's see. Casual Chris is in the house. Now that the Jedi Civil War is canon, is the Great Sith War. No. And none of that stuff that they claim is canon was ever canon. Pre 2014 is the real canon. Ultimate Rockman is with us. Thanks for being here. All right, like I said, guys, share that link out there. We really want to grow Rumble for sure. Everyone's been getting a pretty good crowd, all things considered. And if you don't have a Rumble account, then what are you waiting for? Most of the people in our sphere are kind of right leaning. So there's a lot of content on there that you may be interested in. A lot of political streams and different stuff. So they have a phone app. It's not any worse or better than a lot of the other apps you have, at least on the Android side. So make sure you sign up for Rumble and follow all of our channels. All it takes is click, 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 tap, 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 and you're following us. So make sure you do that because we need the support. All right, we're going to bring something back here because I want to go over some stuff. See if I can find this. Here we go. All right. So we got some stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about Star Wars in theaters. That happened, about 5 days ago? 6 days ago, something like that. We got the article pulled up. We got some of the reactions. You saw the thumbnail. And if you didn't see the one on the Rumble side, go check it out. It didn't have to be edited like on the YouTube side. Both sides, in quotes, because are there really sides? They agree. So we'll get into that, and then what is original for the 10th time, because people still don't get it. I actually found an article. I don't know where it is now. I may try to find it unless someone wants to go out and find it. One of the typical shill websites was basically parroting what I've been saying for a couple of years and more intensely over the last couple of months after we started calling out YBB for calling that stuff original. So if someone can find that, I mean, it's like these people saw my video and they decided to just write this parenting article on it instead of like doing their own research. Or at least, maybe my video came up in the algorithm and then they did a little bit more research about the original Star Wars. So I forgot to pull that up, but I found it the other day. KOTOR 2.2. So there's more than what you've heard and read going on with this new game. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. There's a lawsuit going on. And then some Star Wars clothes that are just absolutely ridiculous. We're going to talk about that. Got some pictures pulled up that we can laugh at. And later on, if we have time, there's a new CCG that's been announced. That's a collectible card game for some of you young people. So if we have time, we'll get into that crap. There aren't a lot of details out yet, but we can certainly get into a little bit about that. Let's see. And then I'm going to show you some stuff. In fact, we can do that in just a few minutes here, won't take long, some things I found in the wild, as they say, and I bought, and I have them right here in the room. So I'm going to show you guys that stuff. So that's what's on the agenda for tonight. And then, some of the usual segments. But here's what I'm going to go into now. More around plans. We got new channels out there on Rumble. King Chris has been sharing the links. So Grounds of Expediency was the name of the show. And then at various points, it was the name of the channel. But it's been renamed, not on the YouTube side, but on the Rumble side. It's now Scourge of Tyranny. Working on an intro for that channel. I think I have made the Off the Treks channel, which over on the YouTube side, I quietly created a star-based channel, and I started uploading old Off the Treks, and one of them got several hundred views. Pretty cool. And it was like, hey, there's two guys talking about football. Well, Greg and I would always BS at the beginning of the streams and stuff like that. So over on the Rumble side, it is star-based. World Wrestling Veneration. Got a channel out there. Haven't uploaded anything yet. So some more channels planned. Star Wars and Politics, just like on the YouTube side. So I can mirror all those videos. It's different on the Rumble side when you create extra channels. It's a lot easier. And it's quite frankly more user-friendly, more creator-friendly than it is on the YouTube side. So USA will kind of just stay around, right, as the main streaming channel. Right now it has the most followers. And then the person's account too, it has followers. And what they do is they sum all that. They all add up. So that's pretty cool. And then there's a secret channel that I'm going to announce, I don't know, sometime in the next 30 days. So here's what we're going to aim for. Aim for, keywords. So everyone remembers back in the day, the Sunday night streams, we'll do in rotation. And it doesn't even have to be like in order. Oh no, we got to stay in order here. It could be a Sunday night. We could do Off the Treks, because there's a lot of woke, idiotic crap going on in Star Trek right now. Like, I was one of the first people to share that stupid Starfleet Academy picture. I woke up early that day and it was out there. So there's all kinds of stupid crap to talk about there. The next week, it could be politics on Scourge of Tyranny. The next week after that, we could do a wrestling stream. It could be about what's going on now. It could be just, hey, we're going to talk about an old event. We're going to talk about just a certain topic. Like, I really want to interview the guy who wrote the Gorilla Monsoon autobiography. I do interact with him on social media quite a bit. So, and he does interviews. He's trying to sell a book, and it's actually a travesty how many books he's only sold. I think it was something stupid like 5,000. It's like that book should sell 100,000. He just released the audiobook though. So hopefully that really picks up. But it could be wrestling. And then here's the most important thing. For the secret channel that's going to come out, I want to stream at least once a month on this. And it's going to be something totally different, but it will be a Rumble channel. Can't really do it on the YouTube side because I've run out of phone numbers. That's the difference on the Rumble side. You don't have to keep on coming up with phone numbers. YouTube is so creator unfriendly that it's ridiculous. If you just want to have something totally separate, right? Because if you don't, and they nuke a channel, then other channels can get nuked too. So people like to keep them separate. So once I announce that, and on that particular stream, it'll be just me. I mean, occasionally I may have guests and stuff like that, but not really your typical guests that or co-hosts that you've seen in the past. So I can't wait to share more about what that new channel will be. It'll be good. So That's kind of what the plan is, guys. That's a game plan, but it's easier said than done. It's hard to find time. Started a new job 7 months ago, ostensibly so that for a lot of reasons, but I'm thinking, well, the workload will be lighter. And it really hasn't been so far, and I don't think it was by design. I think a perfect storm happened, but eventually I think things will settle down and I'll have a lot more time to spend on creating. So, in any event, that is the game plan. So, really quick here, let me go get this stuff. There is a gigantic indoor flea market that a friend of mine went to 2 weeks ago, and he's like sending pictures. Then he calls me like on video call, and he's showing me all this stuff, and I'm like, I've got to go, right? So we went the following weekend, and I just found all kinds of stuff. I found 4 LJN from the 80s wrestling figures. They're over there, and I got them all for a deal. I'm like, hey, if I buy all 4, well, you'll knock $10 off. So I got them for $60. So 15 a piece. Those things can go for money on eBay. So I was happy with that. I got Hulk Hogan, which is a big one. I got Hillbilly Jim, JYD, Junkyard Dog, and Nikolai Volkov. So pretty cool. But I got season 2 episode guide. These are legendary episode guides by Jane Killick for like $2. In the package, Phantom Menace school kit with the ruler and the pencil pouch. I actually had a Return of the Jedi one just like this. It's actually back here from when I was a kid. Let's see. I got a puzzle from 1995. Probably going to leave this in the box, but pretty cool art there. And then this was huge, and my daughter has already put this together, but it's a puzzle from 2012, I think. But this is the cover to Showdown at Center Point. And the puzzle itself, it's the entire piece of art. So I'm going to glue that, get some puzzle glue it, put it on some cardboard, and then frame it. And then, hell, it could be here, some streams. It'll be cool. So all that crap I paid for probably less than $100. I think a lot of the good stuff goes quick in places like that. Didn't find any books at all. I saw a lot of Disney Star Wars books, like all the crap. Like there was a book about one of the fighter squadrons from Disney trilogy I saw on a shelf. Just a lot of garbage. And then retro stuff. There's a difference between retro and vintage, right? Vintage is old stuff. Retro is stuff to made look like it's vintage. And there's a lot of crap out there. G.I. Joe, Star Wars, whatever. Even wrestling. It's like, no, I just want the original stuff. So pretty cool finds. I was happy with that. Yeah, thanks, Chris, for posting the links out there. We've never been more back. Yeah, so I know what you're talking about there, for sure. Yep, the spacing is tonight on multiple channels. E. Clay Thomason in the house. Longtime member of the channel and supporter. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know if they play games or not, to be quite frank. But yeah, if they do, they'll buy anything. I have the picture pulled up one of the nights shared in the Discord, so they're doing a little bit of shopping. But there's so many topics to get into, guys. So what Melvin's referring to is, and I think Alora pointed this out. I don't know who else did, but J.I. Acup said something to the effect of, we're so back because of this game or whatever coming out, right? So she made the point, so you weren't there before? Are you admitting that Disney Star Wars wasn't there before? Is that what you're saying? And logically, I think she has a really good point. We are so back. See if I can find that. Saw it right before I started streaming. First canon Old Republic story we have never been more back. All one word, all one sentence from J.I. Acup, and then she said, meaning Star Wars was bad, dead, etc. Yeah, so how are you back if you were already there and Disney Star Wars was the greatest thing ever? J.I. Acup, ask yourself that. It's freaking retarded. And I don't give a shit about the trailer, to be quite frank. But one thing caught my eye, no pun intended. Let's put this on the screen here. So this, when I was kind of scrolling through the video, I saw this, and just zoom out in your mind's eye, right? Just zoom out. It's going to be another ugly chick. You can tell. That's what they've been doing in all these games. Like it's like a politically correct thing. We got to make the girl ugly so that the ugly girls don't feel intimidated and left out. And you can tell right here, you back out and it's not going to be an attractive female, period, point blank. I can see it coming now. It's par for the course for what they've been doing. Justin says someone else is triggered on Twitter right now. Been going back and forth. Claimed Revan was a girl. Yeah, we've seen that. There's a certain psycho that does that all the time. I don't know if it's the same one or not. But no, the character is canonically male because, as they did with Force Unleashed, with all the Old Republic novels, whatever happens, right, in the book is the canonical story, usually the heroic outcome from the game. Dark forces. Like, oh, Kyle Katarn died, guys. He died. He didn't make it to NJO because I played it in a game and it happened. That's not the canonical storyline from that game. It's one of the possible outcomes of the game if you lose, but that's it. Yeah, just like that guy that's always on Yavin Base. Saw the Galactic Racer game. I don't even know what you're talking about on that. Eitlas. Like she didn't know about it beforehand. Steezo, for life, is in the house. Lurking and jerking. Hope you have a great night. Yeah, it's possible. Very possible. So we started hearing these rumors. I think these rumors have been on and off. They're going to remake KOTOR, blah, blah, blah. Maybe they were true, maybe they weren't, but this game seems to be what they were talking about. So part of the story there is, let me move this over so I keep everything in order. Let me share this. So what happened was some people got together. It sounds like just fans that know how to code. Remember that? Learn to code. Well, now coders are getting replaced by AI. Anyway, and they got their hands on some content, some planned content for KOTOR 2 20 years ago, and they finished it. Restored content DLC, downloadable content from appearing on Switch. So they did it, and first Disney was like, yeah, we're good with it because they had an agreement from the developer that, hey, all the people that worked on it are good with it going live. So they gave them a list. We just want to be in the credits. Well, then apparently the Disney lawyers said, no, that's not going to work. You can't put like, Buff Jedi 32. It has to be their legal name. So they wanted them to dox themselves in the credits, which is a little goofy because if anyone who's beaten like a Nintendo game, and I'm talking Nintendo, not even PC games, you get the credits at the end, and a lot of the names are obvious aliases, right? Probably a lot of Japanese developers and stuff, they weren't using their real names and they would have some goofy name. So it's really odd that Disney insisted that these volunteer developers give their real name. So it never happened because the Disney ambulance chasers got scared and they didn't want to allow this I guess charity development work to be published because they didn't want to get sued for someone else's work, using someone else's work. I mean, and then they wound up getting sued anyway. That's what the lawsuit was, because people who had signed up for it are suing for false advertising. And that's going to get settled out of court. So you wound up getting sued anyway when the people who worked on it are telling you it's okay. And I think another part of it was 2 or 3 of the people on the team they couldn't reach. The guy that headed up the thing, they couldn't find out who they were, where they are, whatever, several years later. So Disney lawyers are like, no, we're not going to do it. So I think they said, we're just going to come up with something new. Hey, we're Disney Lucasfilm and we like to change the real canon anyway. So we'll just come up with our own story. And that's where this Fate of the Republic crap came from. That's my working theory here. But yeah, the lawsuit was settled last month. So out of court, never went to trial, but kind of stupid. Like, and I can tell you this now, guys, firsthand experience. If you're an attorney, and unless you're at the top, right, like one of the leaders, like a general counsel, if you have a license to practice law and you're working for a corporation, then you probably suck, because you could go to a law firm and then eventually make way more money, but you have to be good. That's the thing. If you're working for a corporation, more than likely, all you're doing is like stupid crap, like reviewing contracts, whatever. The types of lawyers that worked on this situation were probably further up the food chain, but at the same time, why are you working there for a salary? And maybe some companies have some kind of commission where, hey, you protect us from $10 million in risk, you mitigate someone's claim, then you're going to get like a percentage of that. There's a possibility some of their contracts are written that way, but you can make just a fuck ton more working in a private practice and then eventually becoming a partner, like tens of millions of dollars. So if you're an attorney and you work for any corporation, I don't care if it's Disney or Walmart, it doesn't even matter, then you're more than likely you suck at being a lawyer. So that's kind of the part of the background here on the origin, I think, of this game that they're coming out with. By the way, I need to scroll up here. I'm a little bit pissed off because usually okay, it is working. So it didn't make the little money bag sound. So $20 from Gabriel Knight on the Rumble side. Thank you very much, Gabriel Knight. Big time supporter. This guy, and I give him credit in the videos and stuff. He does more than just support us monetarily. He helps us out with some content creation, and people like me and Justin owe a lot to him. So thank you very much. for doing that all the time, and thanks for the $20. Got to find something to play for that for sure. Let's see what we got here.
I don't watch TV. It's a cultural wasteland filled with inappropriate metaphors and an unrealistic portrayal of life created by the liberal media elite.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you glorify violence or advocate the use of guns as a way of solving civil disputes?
Thank you very much, Gabriel Knight. Then I saw another one here. Let's see if I can find the purple. There it is. Steezo for life, who is lurking, who is going to watch the replay. Makes total sense to have another female lead for a video game after the amazing success of Outlaws. Great job, Disney. And not just another female lead, but one that they, again, almost went out of their way to be unattractive, right? And I always see that picture out there. I don't play modern games, but I don't know if it's some kind of Viking game, but it's the redhead chick. You know which one I'm talking about. And like in earlier versions, maybe she could be construed as being attractive, but then like in some of the newer ones, they just kind of uglified her. That seems to be the biggest example of unattractive females in gaming, and honestly in movies and stuff too. Like, you know, everyone's reviewing that Last of Us stuff and all that. Let me stop sharing my screen here. But yeah, thanks. Another big time supporter, Steezo for life, who's been getting into the AI music too. Oh, frack. Battlestar Galactica clip for Steezo for life there, because I know he loves it.
What is it, some kind of local trouble?
Let's just say we'd like to avoid any imperial entanglements.
Well, that's the real trick, isn't it? And it's going to cost you something extra.
That's the movie that's going to be in theaters, guys. She'll be bisexual and you'll choose to bang dudes or gals. And you know, it'll be like a bunch of guys playing her doing the chicks. That's what it'll be. Just imagine like 20, 30 years ago. I think you could do that in The Sims, but let's go back 30 years ago then. Like, I couldn't even imagine having that option in a game. It's just wacky. Janors and Juno Eclipse were quite attractive. Yeah, that's true. Very true. Original Chris is here. On the Rumble side, I find it funny but sad how John Jackson Miller, one of the first traders, one of the first people that weren't in the upper echelons of Disney Lucasfilm who knew about the discarding of the EU, because he had to have been writing that New Dawn book months and months before 4/25/14, right? He had to have been. And he had to have known that, hey, this doesn't fit in with real canon. So he's a traitor. Praises the new KOTOR announcement when his story is non-canon, since Disney cherry picks lore. Yeah, and again, New Dawn, tell me that wasn't symbolic, right? The first Disney continuity Star Wars book called A New Dawn. Not A New Hope. New Hope in theaters. Yeah, so that's what's going on with the KOTOR stuff. Oh, and by the way, let's go into this for a second. So the guy that they got to make the game, let me share my screen again here. It's Casey Hudson. I think this is an old picture of him. He looks way different now, older and stuff. He's the guy that led the team, worked on KOTOR, and he kind of worked on KOTOR 2. He got a special thanks in the credit. So he's back, right? Here's what's interesting. In the StarWars.com article, this guy, and here's the Disney Lucasfilm website with all the staff, Douglas Riley. So he's been around for 20 years at Lucasfilm. He was like an attorney, general counsel, whatever, for a long time, and then he went over to the creative side. So he said it's great to have Casey back. So what does this mean? Like, in the Disney era, what does it mean when you're welcome to stay? It means that you're okay with the agenda. And here's the proof. Here's Ben Burtt. You guys know who Ben Burtt is, right? The legendary sound designer for all the Star Wars films, all the real Star Wars films, as far back as 1975, working on this stuff. He became an editor, and then I think he even wound up directing a few times, kind of like Joe Johnston became a director in his own right. Just I'm sure, personal friend of George, and just a Star Wars stalwart over the years. So I remember this, and I had to look it up. I think I have it. Where did I put that? Didn't have access to get to all the Variety articles and stuff. Yeah, I might have closed that window. Yeah, so in any event, no, we really need to find this, guys, because I want to read some of this to you. What he said, I had to use AI because, again, when you can't get to these articles because you don't have a subscription, if you use the AI, it'll tell you what's inside the article. So let me go to AI mode. I'm just using Google here. It apparently doesn't keep your history. So, is there any evidence that Ben Burtt felt unwelcome after Disney acquired Lucasfilm, right? There is significant evidence that Ben Burtt felt a profound shift in creative philosophy after the Disney acquisition, leading him to being sidelined and feeling like a museum piece, his words, though he never explicitly used the word unwelcome in a personal sense. So I'm the one who put that word in the question. Sidelined, not fired. For the sequel trilogy films like The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, Burtt was not invited to join the sound design team. Change in philosophy. Burtt described the new working environment as a major shift from the original Lucasfilm style. He was effectively told to provide sounds on a more ad hoc basis rather than being integral to the whole creative process. And this is a quote from him. I was just never consulted or hired to do any of them. No one's ever told me why. No, I was told on the new regime, I was just told, just stay in your room and make sounds and just send the stuff to us. We'll decide what to do. So there you go. So for whatever reason, they didn't like him, probably because they knew that he was like a real Star Wars George supporter, right? Whereas some of these other people were going to just toe the company line, the Pablo Hidalgos of the world. But Ben was probably loyal to George, and he said it right there, like the real Lucasfilm of way of doing things, and they didn't like that. So, point is, here's where I'm going with this. I saw somebody in our sphere saying, Oh yeah, let's continue Sword of the Jedi the other day. Troy Denning, if he is welcome back, he cannot be trusted. Michael A. Stackpole, if he's welcomed back, he cannot be trusted. Matthew Stover, I think he's proven over the last couple of months with that book that I knew would be a huge deal. I got to get my hands on the annotated Revenge of the Sith. We know that he can't be trusted. If they're welcoming you back, it means that you're aligned with what they want to do, which is the destruction of George Lucas Star Wars and the subversion of culture. Ben probably wasn't down with that, and he got pushed out. They didn't give a shit about his past, about his history, about his experience. They didn't care. So there it is. This guy that made KOTOR, oh, he made KOTOR. There's hope. No, there isn't. He wouldn't be there if he wasn't a big Disney guy. Just like the Douglas Riley guy, the executive, the vice president of games. LucasArts, formerly LucasArts, he wouldn't be there unless he were a big supporter of the Disney agenda. So that's the real meaning, guys, behind this KOTOR derived game. And that's, again, I think they're making it because they got spooked out on that DLC that would have finished the content. Because for those who don't know, KOTOR 2 had to be rushed to publication 20 years ago because it wasn't ready. They're like, well, we'll leave this part out of it, right? So these amateur developers got together and they finished it. Disney got spooked. They didn't want to get sued. They wound up getting sued anyway because it was false advertising, settled out of court. Well, let's make this other game, and then let's bring back this guy. So they got the name value, but it doesn't mean anything because he can't be trusted. None of the people working with Disney can be trusted. Let's see what you guys are saying here. What Disney did to LucasArts is atrocious. Ding, 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 subversion of culture. When I say ding, 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 I always think of the old man on Breaking Bad. Great stream that you and I were on. Yep. And I think we brought this up a few times, and I always forget about it. But I think Ben Burt was the most candid out of anyone from the old guard. He must not have had a non-disparagement agreement in place, or he just didn't give a shit if he did. Ben Burt also worked on Skywalker Ranch, made a Civil War documentary about the 54th Massachusetts. Yeah, he's worked on a lot of stuff. I mean, he's been in a entertainment business his whole life, pretty much. Yeah, that's true. And he did a lot of interviews. It's a bummer I never got to. He did some interviews, and then he passed away like a year later. Like with, small YouTube channels and stuff. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Mass Effect. I think I had that game. Did they make it for Wii? If they did, I had the first one. And obviously, if they did make it for Wii, the graphics weren't up to snuff like for Xbox. Yeah, that's correct. But he had to have known because don't forget, they announced Rebels, I think, in 2013, and no one knew what it was. Some people probably assumed it would be part of Expanded Universe or whatever, of real Star Wars. But some people take a long time to write a book. There's a rumor, and I've never been able to find the source, but I first heard it on the AOL forums way back in the day that Michael A. Stackpole wrote I, Jedi in 17 days. And that's a pretty thick book. Now, if you can sit there and just crank it out, then it's possible. But some people just take months to write a book. So the fact that he probably didn't have all the pieces, it means that he couldn't have written that starting like in July and then it's out. He had to have known a long time before. No, I like the Wii. I still have it. It's down in our sitting room. Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. I believe he is. I think he was part of that ILM documentary that came out like a year ago, which I refuse to watch unless it's in the form of us criticizing it because I know it's probably skewed and everything. Only reason Pete Fletzer gets shill access is because former colleagues. Well, yeah. And honestly, unless he wrote under a pseudonym or no byline at all, which a lot of those articles from back in the day and Insider and like Galaxy didn't have a byline, then he didn't write that many. So, and he gets it because he'll push their agenda. That's the main reason. Yeah. So Hector Salamanca. Tight, tight, tight. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. Let's look at this crap really quick, guys. I don't know how I found this, but Columbia's done this before. They've been making stuff branded as Star Wars for a couple of years now. But this is the most ridiculous ever, the Endor collection. So you got two different shades of poncho, right? It's like, hey, honey, we got to go to the grocery store. Let's put on our ponchos. And then you go, and then people are like walking down the aisle with their cart like this, looking at you. Where is the convention at in town? It's just it's freaking retarded. And they don't even look good. They don't look like weathered enough like the ones in the movie. They look like they look like costumes. They don't look like actual ponchos and clothes. Then look at this cargo jacket. Endor issue cargo. Who said that's Endor issue? I don't know what the hell this is right here. Reversible jacket. General Han Solo trench coat. That looks like complete shit. Doesn't look weathered enough. Just a stupid hoodie. Cargo vest. I mean, these vests look like shit. The vest that they sold in Star Wars Insider years ago, the Han Solo one, and then they had Luke's Bespin fatigue jacket, tunic, whatever it was. Those look pretty damn good. I never got one. Always wanted one. This stupid boot, $220. Oh boy, it's got slight camouflage colors on the padding at the top. This blanket's pretty cool with the Ralph McQuarrie art, but I'm not gonna give them money for it. You got Ewok kids pajamas, whatever they are. You got a cup with an Ewok on it, a stupid hat. These shirts look like shit. These pants look like shit. They just don't. They look fake. It looks like Halloween costume stuff and not like actual clothes. Yeah, I'm sure this guy in real life would wear that around. Then they got the big man stuff. Just stupid. Like, and look at the prices, man. Like this goofy hat, $60. And this is all MSRP. You know, if you go to wherever Academy or whoever's going to sell this stuff, it's not going to be $65 for this T-shirt. But I guarantee it'll be every bit of 40 or 45 for a stupid ass T-shirt. Yeah, like bad fan made Gabriel, not even like a good fan. Looks stupid. Let me scroll back up here. Yeah, there it is. So I didn't see it in the streaming software, but holy shit, full 1 subscription gifted on the Rumble side. I don't know who got that. Oh, Black Metal Nazgul did. So congratulations. And thank you very much to Holy Chitful for the gifted membership. Appreciate you.
Hey, I wonder if you need a favor someday from Ferris Bueller. Then where'll you be, huh? You heartless wench.
All right, let's get into this, guys. I don't even know the details of this. So Star Wars returns to theaters for 50th anniversary update 6 days ago on February 19th, 2027. We'll celebrate the 50th anniversary. How are you celebrating the 50th anniversary? The film didn't come out in February. That's the first thing that jumps out at me. The film came out on 5/25, right? So how are you celebrating this in February? That's the first question I have. Part of Lucasfilm's year-long 50th anniversary celebration, a newly restored version of the classic Star Wars 1977 theatrical release, later renamed Star Wars A New Hope, will play in theaters for a limited time. Switch on your targeting computer and keep your eyes on StarWars.com for more details, including when and where to buy tickets to this once-in-a-generation event. It's less than that. It's not even once in a generation. I've covered this in videos before. I've got them pulled up. I made this video in 2022. Star Wars differences 20 years before special edition? Question mark. There I am talking. And I think I have some examples here. Yeah, and again, guys, these are in 1977. It wasn't like they were years apart or anything. I don't know if I'm sharing audio. Also share system audio. Perfect. So listen to this right here. Just watch this. I have the volume all the way up on YouTube.
Oh, and he can't stay here forever. Most of his friends have gone. It means so much to him.
I'll make it up to him next year. I promise.
Luke's just not a farmer, Owen. He has too much of his father in him.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Oh, and he can't stay here forever. Most of his friends have gone. It means so much to him.
I'll make it up to him next year. I promise.
Luke's just not a farmer, Owen.
Totally different voice there. Because there were different mixes. The mono mix, the stereo mix, for whatever reason, they chose to go with some different lines. I can't play too much of this because, for obvious reasons, but this here, the guy that's on the intercom to Tarkin, I think they even changed the spoken dialogue in that scene. So those are just like two 2 examples. Now, what I did this year on the Star Wars and Politics channel, whenever I was calling out Yavin-based broadcast, Tourist Talk 50th Anniversary of Star Wars, there's this scene right here. Now, check this out. You got to pay attention. In fact, I'm going to slow this down here. Let's go to as slow as we can. Let's go to quarter speed. Here we go. So here's the real original 1977. And then later in that year, the wider release. Wider meaning in more theaters. Because don't forget, not a lot of theaters wanted to pick up Star Wars in 1977. They didn't know what it was or anything. But once they caught word that, hey, this thing is taken off, people are lining up as soon as they get out to see it again, all the theaters wanted it. So the wider release, they made changes, then they sent the reels out to the theater. So pay attention here. Here we go. Totally redone effects there. They redid that entire effect with the Star Destroyer chasing Millennium Falcon. The lasers, the explosions. It wasn't just, oh, it's not CGI, guys, in 1977. They redid it. They redid some of the scenes on Yavin, especially when the X-Wings are taken off, and a few other things as well. And there are more examples of the mix changing. So that's the first point. People don't even know what original means. Like, which one are they going to show? It's not just the fact that it's not special edition. It's not just the fact that the crawl just says Star Wars. It's that stuff changed. So which one are they going to show? The one before they change the effect in that scene? Which sound mix are they going to use? No one knows that answer because people, they're not even aware of the existence of those changes. Second point, the article says, how did they word it again? Newly restored. So do people even know what going to a movie theater was like in 1977? I think the first time I ever went into a theater was in 79, and it was Star Wars. My parents took me to one of the re-releases. I remember movies maybe as far back as Empire Strikes Back. I remember being in the theater the whole time. 4 years old, 4.5, whatever. And we're not talking about 4K Ultra HD movies, guys. We're talking about there are artifacts on the screen. The sound will pop. You know, we're not talking about THX and all that type of stuff. So what these people want is they just want to go to the theater and see the version that they want to see, and they want to see it in Ultra HD, blah, blah, blah. They're not going there to experience the true nostalgia because they don't know what the nostalgia is. Theaters in 1977 weren't showing 4K Ultra HD movies or awesome sound. And that's not what's going to be recreated in February, the wrong month again, in 2027. It's not going to be on an authentic experience. People who can't get past that, I can't help but conclude that they're just desperate to give Disney money for whatever reason. They want to give Disney money. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. Gordon MacDonald says, not a one of them cares for George Lucas or his philosophy. No, they'll still see it even if it is a special edition. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, Couch. He doesn't like the prequels, but he showed up. He showed up for it. He was all in. It's my kids. Samuel Clemens, that's Mark Twain, once said, "It is far easier to fool someone than to convince them that they have been fooled." Yeah. Yeah, and you could go into the whole thing with the rumors and source guys on that. I thought they said they were using the version from the print they revealed. Yeah, but that one, like, which one is it? I don't know if that's true, Clay, but if it is, like, which one was that? I looked whenever that was back in the summer, and I couldn't figure it out. Because someone out there has written some articles, 2 different websites, and they think, oh yeah, the mono mix was used with this cut, and you just don't know, because they could have shipped that stuff all separately to different theaters, depending on the region, the country. Who knows? The point is, original really means nothing. Yeah, that's true too. Silver Ogre's in the house. The fact that they're saying that, and people who claim to hate Disney Star Wars and Disney Lucasfilm are reading this and taking it at face value tells you all you need to know. I don't know if it was so many, but it was several shots, at least 4 or 5 of them. So, I call those proto special editions. I really want to look at this. We can do it on this side, on this monitor. Yeah, we can do it on that monitor over here. Let's get set up, though.
Track them. They may come around for another pass.
Captain Nida, the ship no longer appears on our scopes.
They can't have disappeared. No ship that small has a cloaking device.
Well, there's no trace of them, sir.
All right. We're going to open up X. Let's see. Let's see what Jacob said. Jacob Star Wars. Gosh, that's just so weird. That avatar. Jason Doug said, "Mock you." Shit, we'll probably have to go way back because he's like living online. Absolute loser looking for validation. Like, golly. All right, so he reposted the official Star Wars announcement here. Here it is. Never in a million years would have thought a proper restoration of the original trilogy's theatrical cuts. Again, there's more than one theatrical cut. Would actually be possible, let alone have theatrical re-releases. Can't believe those leaks were real and will absolutely be seated in 2027. and he's quoting discussing film here. So yeah, he's going to show up, right? And then people like Yavin-based broadcast are going to show up. So, you got to ask yourself, what really is the difference? And when I went back and I watched some of that Shield Trooper Stupid Gatekeepers Alliance video from about a month ago, I didn't realize how hardcore he leaned into defending J.I. Acup. He said something like, "Oh, he's a real fan. He just likes some goofy stuff." So what that is, it's either Shield Trooper being retarded as I think he is, or it's him just trying to ride the fence and cater to full-blown Disney Star Wars fans, while at the same time, occasionally using that term Disney Star Wars in a denigrating manner, and then trying to pander to the supposed anti-Disney crowd. That's all that is. But to say that J.I. Acup is a real fan, and then he's made videos on him too, parodying us, saying, "Oh, look, that's getting clicks. I'm going to do the same thing." What really is the difference? Ask yourself this between a J.I. Acup and a Yavin-based broadcast or a Shield Trooper at the end of the day. They don't categorically reject Disney Star Wars. They say they like stuff. There's not really a difference. Maybe an age, and that's about it. So a lot of these exposed shills are getting what they want, right? It's going to be in the theater, and they're going to be all in. Well, it's pretty funny. I bring up Yavin-based broadcast. Because they were talking about something, and someone shared this. Maybe it might have been Darth Felix. Someone shared this in like Discord or somewhere. Let's see what Chef is saying here. And it's pretty interesting what he says, and I'll tell you why after we see it. All right, here we go. Let me know if you can't hear this. So what they're talking about is there was another article, I think it was from Screen Rant, about, oh yeah, the retcons are going to happen. Those retcons that Overlord DVD has been talking about for 5 years now? I don't know which is more of an egregious lie. Kathleen Kennedy getting fired, or the retcons that Dave and John and Dave were going to make sure happened. So that's what they're talking about here. They were talking about, I think it was a Screen Rant article. So keep listening here. You're fucking kidding me. You can't hear it. I slid the bar over. Let's try it again. I'm going to unslide it and slide it back. Let's back up a little bit here. It's maxed out, Chris. My headset is on 90 something, and then YouTube is maxed up. You're kidding me. Let's try the fucking tab. I was sharing Windows sound earlier. Let's try tab. Okay, you ready?
Turns and all of the rest of it. So, you know, does that mean it's less enjoyable? You know, there are things about it that make it less enjoyable, the writing and some of the storytelling and all that, but I don't know that it has anything to do with retconning or not retconning.
Yeah.
But it all still leads to the sequels, unless don't you
Exactly.
tell me I'm missing something.
And that's the death nail right there. You just said it. That's the one thing that Star Wars fans can't really get past. It doesn't matter how great a show is or an episode is that comes out right now with Disney Plus, when you know right down the road we're getting Jake Skywalker, we're getting the sequel trilogy. That is the story laid out ahead of us that unfortunately we already know. And it pretty much single-handedly destroyed the Star Wars franchise. I hate to say that. It's definitely.
Yeah, so it's really interesting that they're saying that, because how long have we been saying that? I think like 4 or 5 years. All roads lead to Jake Skywalker, right? Now they're saying that. Interesting. And by the way, this logo up here, I thought that logo was gone, and they're back to Echo Base Network. Is their channel back to being? Hang on, let me hit escape here. No, it's Echo Base Network still. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Let me get the screenshotter out here. Throw this in the spacer chat for posterity. Yeah, so again, these guys were all in for the retconning and all that stuff. If you go back even 2 years ago, suddenly, oh, it all leads to that. And they keep talking here, and they never really give their opinion on that. Like, does it really matter to them? MK Ultra. Jedi Fallen Order. You go to Ilum in the early stages. Yeah, I remember that being a thing like 10 years ago. Like, hey, look on the map where it is and where Starkiller Base is, blah, blah, blah. It's like a giant lightsaber crystal. Yeah, expanded university custom emojis. His face on that pause is epic. He's having an orgasm thinking about all roads leading to Jake Skywalker. Soul Assassin is in the house. Yeah, exactly. Like, they got to separate that. I saw that moron, that Chris guy, that Chris Gore guy, just yesterday, I think, telling someone on X, oh, we had a funeral for Star Wars. It's like, wait a minute. Did you have a funeral for Star Wars or for Disney Star Wars, right? If you had a funeral for real Star Wars, you're full of crap, because as long as we honor it, as long as we keep it alive, as long as we preserve it and read it, it'll live forever. These people have a problem separating Disney Star Wars from Star Wars. They see the title, you know, like right up here, Star Wars, and they think, oh yeah, if it has that logo on it, then it's Star Wars. That's very much not the case. Chef. Gay alert. There you go. Shut up, Chef. Brandon the Awesome. Gordon McDonald says DSW doesn't deserve a funeral. Like the outlaw Josie Wales said, buzzards gotta eat. Same as the worms. Gordon's always coming up with the quotes here all the time. SWA, Chris scored the politics and Andor done better than George ever did in the prequels. Yeah. Complete Hollywood F. He's doing a funeral for Star Trek. Well, you know, if you want to talk about that, yeah. 2009. If you really want to go there with Star Trek. I don't think I look anything like him. I'm just a better looking guy in general, but I don't think I'm a version of him. I'm older than he is, so he would technically be a version of me. So think about that. Myco Mermaid. Myco Mermaids. Yeah, I think we talked about it. In fact, I came across it. That's what I forgot to talk about, guys. Like when I was announcing stuff, I'm moving all the spacings to Rumble. I was an early adopter because so was Greg Hates Everything. I think he started Rumble late 2020. So I think I started early 2021, synced everything up. Well, YouTube stopped allowing syncing in late 2023, and I didn't realize it for a year and a half. So I've begun taking streams and moving them over there from that time, plus going way back to the beginning, deleting some and reposting them because back then there were like 5 followers. So like the very first spacing I posted about a month ago, and it got, I don't know, maybe 100 views. So it'll just be random spacings every Friday night at the old time slot. So, you know, you wake up Saturday morning, feel free to watch an old spacing. I posted the first Alternative Factory Live from September 2021 that had me, Greg Liquid Blake, and Timon from Brazil, and maybe a few other people. That was like a 4.5 hour long stream. We just talked about old movies and stuff. So thanks for the inadvertent reminder there. But yeah, during that process of editing, I came across when we were looking at that stupid funeral. What are you talking about, holy chitful? What are you talking about?
I really liked Baby Dumbo.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah.
There's my money where my mouth is. If you don't like it, bounce.
Queer of the Old Republic, Myco Mermaids. Yeah, there's the Puppet Show by the great Ripoff Verse. Anyway, I just saw that and it's like, okay, let's parrot the guys that we hate and that hate us. Thought it was pretty funny. Let's look at this really quick. And I keep on saying this and it hasn't happened, but we need to have a Decipher CCG stream and have Gabriel Knight and a few others on that have a lot of the cards. Back over here on the ground, I have a card box that has quite a few of them. I really would like to get a complete set from every series. There was an Expanded Universe series that came out, I think, in the early 2000s. And then they lost the license, and they came out with, in my opinion, that horrible follow-up game. I think Wizards of the Coast made it. Lucasfilm gave the license to them for RPG and everything in the early 2000s. All right, so it's 3 different companies: Lucasfilm Games, formerly LucasArts, 036 Studio, and CCG Lab. Brand new collectible card game, build decks, characters like Luke and Darth Vader. Oh, it's going to get retconned. They didn't mention Rey, guys. It's retconned. Together with 06, we're creating something truly exciting for players and fans alike. An experience that celebrates the joy of play in the galaxy far, far away. They're poets and they didn't even know it. Corey Jones, CEO of CCG Lab, says, our mission is to craft an experience that captures the thrill, adventure, and heart of Star Wars. A game that feels instantly familiar yet constantly surprising. Yeah, so not a lot of details there, but no CCG has measured up to the Star Wars one. And honestly, on the Star Trek side, Decipher made a Star Trek one that was also badass. And to my knowledge, no Star Trek CCG has been created that measures up. So it'll be interesting to see what cards they come up with, what characters they use, and all that stuff. Christopher Barker's here. Rey is going to be in this card game. Yeah. Sue him for false advertisement. Yeah, we got to have that stream, man. Some of those cards, lots of lore in them, lots of inside jokes, like on Yak Face. It said he was a tobacco farmer, you know, because of the Camel cigarette connection. And then, believe it or not, guys, this was 5 years ago. This was 5 years ago. So you've got 1, 2, 3. Let's do it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 different pieces of content on there. How many actually happened? I don't know what they mean by Indiana Jones. I don't know if that was the movie. I don't know what they meant by that. Some people at the time thought it was going to be like a TV show. So Acolyte happened. Obi-Wan Kenobi happened. Bad Batch happened. Andor happened. Willow happened. Ahsoka happened. Did Droid Story happen? I have no idea. I don't think so, because I don't remember anyone dunking on it. More Mandalorian happened, obviously, at 7, and then Visions happened, so 8. Right over 50%. And this Children of Blood and Bone was some stupid non-Star Wars or non-Indiana Jones show, movie, whatever it was. I have no idea if that happened. Rangers of the New Republic. Everyone, I don't know if it was announced, but the assumption was that Gina Carano would be the lead in that show, or at least have a major role. And that's why it never happened. Lando talked about, oh, now it's a movie, but never happened. Rogue Squadron, yeah, let's film a hype video on the tarmac with real fighter jets. with Patty Jenkins. Still hasn't happened, but they're claiming that it's not canceled. Droid Story, didn't hear a damn thing about it. Willow, so universally received poorly that they took it off of the streaming platform. Indiana Jones, that did come out, right? What, like 3 years ago? Was it July 2022 or was it 2023? If that's what they're talking about here, the movie. Acolyte happened, obviously, and then Andor. Here's what's interesting. This is back when they were still using that font style. But again, my theory there is that they went to that other one and then they took Star Wars off because they're like embarrassed of it being Star Wars. Oh, it'll get a better chance to be Emmy bait if we take the Star Wars title off and we take the Rebel Starbird off and put a real O and just change the font. So it's really interesting how they changed that entire logo for Andor. And board and fake lore, whatever you want to call it. That's a good point, Christopher Barker. Happened like diarrhea happens. Yeah. But it's funny that this was 5 years ago. And now you can add more to it. The Ray, what is it, movie or trilogy, whatever it is. The people keep calling it Dawn of the Jedi, but it hasn't been named that. But the Ancient Jedi one. And I think it's had multiple writers, directors, whatever. They just don't know what to do with any of this stuff. And by the way, 5 years later, well before this, she was going to get fired, right, guys? And we're coming up, I think, on 3 years in March, April, where certain people claimed she had locked herself in her office. So, man, I don't know where she's peed and stuff like that, but she's been in there a long time. And that's the only reason she hasn't been walked out of the building, because she's barred herself in her office, barricaded herself in her office. That's the ancient Pasha method of storytelling. You know what's funny about Puck News? I was reading that crap and calling it out. I'm going to say as far back as late 2021. And not a lot of other people were. Any day now, yeah. Any day now. Sparrow. I got to get that clip. Amazing series. Probably, and this is, I don't say this lightly, and it means something when you say it. Probably Melvin's best work. And I think it's criminally underviewed. The Cameron Pasha video series. Let me see what this is. Yeah, we can look at this really quick. I kind of alluded to it earlier. This is, well, I'm going to scroll down here so we can't see what's on the bottom. Again, one of our followers shared this in, I don't know, Discord, one of the private chats. I don't remember. So you got more than likely Chef here. I think Chef controls the account. Christmas is almost here, and this is the Star Wars section at Walmart. Hashtag Disney Star Wars is dead. So, I guess he's taking the sample size of one store in the entire country. I can tell you this. I don't really go shopping anymore, but I went into a Walmart, I don't know, like a month and a half ago. And I'm like, well, I went in through the garden center side and the toys were right there. So I'm like, let me walk through here, see if they have any of those like wrestling ones that have all the detail and all that stuff. And they had quite a bit of Star Wars in that aisle. Now, Greg would love to talk about this. Greg hates everything, but so the argument is there's nothing there and it's dead. There's a lot of stuff there. The argument is it's not selling and it's peg warming. So I guess ideally, does he want to see a bunch of pegs that are empty, right? And that would be proof that, yeah, they have shelf space for them and they're actually selling. And I need to go shopping for Chef again. I used to do this. I used to see something and like send it to him and say, hey, look, I found something for you. And he never replied saying thank you. And I don't understand that because, hey, you know, when we do all this stuff, it's just jokes. We're just joking around and we want to be friendly. And I see like a Baby Yoda nightlight, one of those projector ones that'll like put a picture on the wall or the ceiling. It's like, hey, I found this for you, bub, you know, like, here you go. And he never even replies. I just think it's rude and passive aggressive of him. Hick statistics. EBN pushing 2020 hopium grifts. And I don't know, like someone spun that video we just watched of them earlier as hopium and I don't think they're slinging it that way. I think they're starting to parrot us now. So sometimes you got to look past the headline and listen to what people are saying. Other times you look at it and say, I know exactly what they're going to say, but I was intrigued by the title and I'm like, they can't be that stupid. And they're pretty stupid, but they weren't that stupid because they at least called Screen Ran Out for being full of crap. And then they parroted our all roads lead to Jake Skywalker line. He bought all the baby Dumbos. Yeah, he's waiting for all those toys and that merch to come out for sure. He won't have to buy the customs, right? He can buy an official Star Wars baby Dumbo. That's definitely a bug. So I stopped screen sharing. It's gone from the bottom bar here and then it pops back up. They got some bugs to work out, but honestly, StreamYard, when I left StreamYard, it was all jacked up. Things sucked. And they were way too expensive for what you got. Hang on 1 second, guys. Yeah, okay. So before we get into a few of these last few segments here, do you have any questions? I don't think I asked that enough. And you know what I love? And this is just kind of weird, given how busy I am, but I love when people reach out and they're like, you know, hey, Tim, I'm working on this or that. And I wanted to see if you knew if Obi-Wan ever did this, or if Vader knew about this, or whatever. And, you know, and I'll answer those questions free of charge. Like anytime you're working on a project or a video, or you're just curious, reach out. And not just Star Wars. Like I know a lot about everything. Star Trek, Doctor Who, like whatever. And that's the type of stuff that I retain. I had this meme. I could probably find it. It's of data from TNG. and the first panel is him, and I think this is a line from one of the episodes, "I do not know why I am here," or something like that. And the second one is, I think it's from the pilot, from Encounter at Farpoint. He's like, "I remember every fact I am exposed to." And I'm like, first panel, the caption is me and my wife when I'm trying to remember weekend plans. And then the second panel is me when it comes to obscure lore for nerd franchises. So I don't know. There's a nice young lady in one of the groups, and she has a theory around food delivery or taxi car driving, and it's a pretty solid theory. So I don't know. We don't know the answer to that. We just know he's a vile scumbag and human piece of garbage. What is your opinion on the rumored treatments Lucas had? Well, here's my opinion on them, whether the treatments exist in detail or not, and it's that they never happened, right? Because again, that's like going back and saying the outline and even some of the original drafts for Empire Strikes Back. Hey, look what's in there. Like Han going in search of his stepfather, who was like a shipping magnate and possibly like a criminal kingpin, to get his help to join in the fight against the Empire. Well, that evolved and it turned into Lando, right? He has to go find like help from like an old acquaintance. So who's Han's stepfather? He's no one. You know why? Because that never happened. Same thing with that right there. Never happened. Working on a genealogy project documenting my family history for my grandma for Christmas because she got me interested. Yeah, I just heard never do that 23andMe and all that stuff because they'll steal your information. Snap. No, I never read them. I may have one or two, like, quarter bin issues. If not, my friend did, because I remember picking one up and holding it in my hand. But I have read the character when he shows up and stuff like JLA and whatever. He's one of those, I guess you could say, like quasi-canon, like fun characters, where he does just a lot of outrageous, ridiculous stuff. Why do you ask? That's awesome. Been interested in genealogy. Yeah, just be careful with that 23andMe stuff, guys. Oh, and by the way, it looks like Holy Chitful did another gifted membership, and Original Chris got it this time. So thank you very much to Holy Chitful for another gifted membership.
What?
Let's see. Just like Han Solo never appeared in Revenge of the Sith, even though he was in one of the drafts. Yeah, those drafts could have been like George is sitting there one day and he's put, oh yeah, it'd be cool if we put Han in there. And then he may not have ever even had an intention to do it. He just threw it in there because he thought of it. He doesn't need to. Yeah, just read, stuff like Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader, and it'll go into detail and that kind of stuff. That's another good point too, right? He wasn't writing those intending to use them because he was never going to make a sequel trilogy. And he said that way back that, hey, you know, by the time I get through another 6 years of movie making, 7 years, 8 years, 8 or 9 years, really, because they started working on Phantom Menace in what, 95, 96 with early conceptual stuff. And then Revenge of the Sith is released in 2005. So 8 or 9 years, really 10 with conceptual stuff. And he knew in interviews they're like, I'll never get around to doing it because it's like your whole life if you're going to make 3 trilogies of movies like that with the special effects and all that stuff. Yeah, don't do the DNA stuff. Yep, hated being in the suit. Yep. Yeah, at least. And he wanted to like live his life and make. Here's what's funny, like he wanted to make Star Wars, but he also wanted to become financially stable to where he could make the avant-garde movies he wanted to make. He didn't really want to make American Graffiti, but he did a good job at it, and it's really what got Star Wars approved. He's like, well, I'll make these, I'll get the merchandising rights, I'll stay independent, and then I'll start making what I want. And he made like Red Tails, and that thing was like in development on and off for probably 20 years. But he made that, and he really didn't do too much else, right? So you just get busy, you get old, and time flies. So I don't think he ever really intended, as of the mid 90s, to make a sequel trilogy. He had talked about 9 and 12 in the early 80s. Yeah, and his kids, they probably just weren't as into it. The one daughter might have been, but oh, that's cool. Make sure you guys do that if you're into audiobooks. I can't listen to audiobooks because listening is a passive thing and my mind will wander if I'm reading like it's an active thing, right? So I'm not going to read and go, ugh. But if you're listening, I start looking around when I'm driving, maybe worrying about stuff. My mind wanders and I'm like, oh shit, how much have I missed? So I can't do audiobooks. I can just do regular books that you have to read. Yeah, Katie. Yep. The one that called out Dave. Here's something else hilarious. I keep going back to, and we're going to talk about him in a minute here. This is kind of weird, but Shield Trooper will be a part of Expanded Bootyverse. But it's funny how he's using like Dave Filoni quotes in that stupid Gatekeepers Alliance video. Oh, Dave said all this about canon. Yeah. I believe Dave Filoni. Man, what a trustworthy guy that is. With his $1 million smile. His creepy smile. All right, here we go. I thought this was pretty funny. So you got this girl, I don't know, Twitch thought, whatever. And this is actually a video that this is where it was when I screenshotted it. Sophie Rain has an insane figure. I lost almost 30 pounds since this. Script Trooper, mid, 4 likes, 11 hours after he made the comment. And it's the 4 people I can guess. You always get these idiots. You get like Fickle Shanks, right? That stupid ass. And I can't think of the other 3, but of course they're showing up, hitting like. I wish you could still see likes. It's bullshit that you can't. Yeah, not bad at all, but mid, according to Shill Trooper. Yeah, I'll answer that in a minute. But yeah, just hilarious. So here's the real expanded booty verse for the week. I guess as J.I. Acup would say, punch it, right? I'm going to light speed, guys. I'm going to light speed. Brandon the Awesome for $5. Brandon, who needs to get on Rumble and follow us if he isn't already. So far this year, Shill Trooper, Lucky Kennedy, and Darth Homo have all taken swings at the EU Expanded Universe and Gatekeepers Alliance. They are afraid of being exposed as frauds. Well, they already have been. Just like the diss track says, that virgin loser SJW Lucky Kennedy having sex with an imaginary entity, because that's all he'll ever get. Yeah. And he's got a major fixation on OG Star Wars. It's funny how a lot of these guys, these wimpy dork types, always go after her. J.I. Acup does it because they're all like secretly misogynist. They call everyone else that, but they're the true ones. And plus they're afraid. They think going after a woman is lower risk than going after one of us. Well, she proves them wrong every single time. But thank you very much for the $5, Brandon the Awesome.
This is Space Cowboy from the planet Earth.
So yeah, guys, let's jump to light speed here. All right. Shut up, Shill Trooper. Doesn't need to be. Yeah, I'm in agreement. Gain it back. Yeah, I give it a 7 out of 10. Pow. I'll give it an 11 out of 10 if you know what I mean. I'm gonna give it a 14 out of 10. Like to imagine American Graffiti. Well, hey, I think I have that. I do have that video out there still. I'm gonna try to remaster it, but that trying to think of what the name of the trilogy was going to be called. I always forget, but I have a video out there, an expanded university video, and the author was going to connect American Graffiti, THX 1138, Star Wars, and all that stuff. So American Graffiti Earth winds up being THX 1138 when they escape that tyrannical Earth. Somehow they go through some kind of anomaly, and then they wind up in a galaxy far, far away. That's how humans get to a galaxy far, far away. And it's, 100,000 years before Star Wars. So go out there and find that video. The mods may be able to find it, but that was a plan. And then they said, no, we're not going to do that. And then they changed the project to Alien Chronicles, which did get published, completely unrelated to Star Wars, but with the Lucasfilm name on it. So yeah, that guy, and there was something else George Lucas created. It wasn't Indiana Jones, but he was going to try to connect something else too. Pretty crazy. Brandon Tran is here saying hello to everyone. Yeah, give it a 6 or a 9. Hyperdrive is leaking. That's TMI. Projectionists, projectionist, misogynist is what they are. Beta males attacking the woman. Yeah. And, she ain't no typical woman. And I mean that in a complimentary manner. Is he married? I have no fucking clue. If he is he lying or not? Don't know. Yeah, no Adam's apple, not interested. That's fantastic. Shut up, Shell Trooper. So there was a question back here. Which early 2000s movie is more underrated? Underrated? I don't know that Fellowship is underrated. I think if you really think about it, it's overrated. People think, and I liked it. I was there. I don't think it was opening night, but it was opening weekend. It was pretty cool because I went with my girlfriend at the time and we're outside and I see my friends, like 5 or 6 of my friends. And they're like, oh, we're here, sit with us. I'm like, okay. So we go in. The previews are going. As soon as the lights went out and the movie started, I hear like beer cans cracking and they passed me one of them. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, fantastic movie. But a lot of people don't know this. There are key elements of the novel. Not, Tom Bombadil, they cut. No, it's not even that. Like, they changed a lot of the motivations and reactions of the main characters, like Elrond. Completely different character than the novel. His attitude toward his daughter's relationship and all that kind of stuff. So, fantastic movie, beautifully made, to quote George Lucas. And I'm not saying it was completely disrespectful to the source material, but it also wasn't 100% faithful either. So I would not, I've never heard Lord of the Rings being underrated. Tron Legacy, you could consider it being underrated. I liked it, saw it in the theater. It's one of those ones where I had to sit in the front row because I got there too late. I've never seen Revenge of the Fallen because I didn't like the first Transformers live action film. So I didn't see that one. I like the animated Transformers movie that I have recommended before on Alternative Factory. So out of those 3, it has to be Tron Legacy. But I like the original Tron. It's great. Yeah, Leland and Pablo. Yeah. And yeah, he got totally ratioed on that video. Like, go look how many comments there are. I don't know if I ever commented other than making a quip here and there as a reply to someone else, because I'm like, it's not even worth it. The fickle shanks people who follow him are going to keep on following him and hitting like no matter what. So who cares? And at the end of the day, he's in there like just, throwing around idiot and words like that and telling us to delete our channels. It's like, never say that to our faces. He wouldn't have the balls. Yeah, things were changed, man, and it's like for what, you know? Darth Angel 2 is in the house. Thanks for being here. Such ugly behavior has no place in this fandom. Kyle Katan here. I'm a bouncer at a gay bar in Seattle. They don't even have to pay me. They give it to me up the ass. At least 2 nights a week, I'm good to go. I commented he lost all credibility using the fake Melvin image. Dude, he lost credibility, all credibility years ago. We just started really paying attention to it. All right.
Shut the door, hit the button, watch him go. You ain't base, here's a quick ticket to get space. We chillin' up in the back room, you floating through the vacuum. Time to end this session, let it at your explosive decompression.
There are always options, but we just passed 4 days ago the 30-day mark on Shield Trooper not providing receipts for the 100K view video where people are calling us out. And he knows that we're calling him out, saying he hasn't provided the receipts, yet we still don't see him. He's calling attractive young ladies mid. He's a liar. And honestly, is he lying in that video, or is he really that stupid to believe in that? I don't know. He may be mildly retarded. It's very possible. But at the end of the day, he's pissed me off this week. And you know what? The end of that video is what really made me mad. Because he's calling us liars when we're the ones being authentic. Like, he actually played the clip, and I didn't realize this because I haven't watched the whole thing through, but I was looking at it earlier tonight. He played the whole or most of the clip when I was making a short telling parrots to stop parroting us, right? And he's like, oh, you just messed up. Just, delete your channel or blah, 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 whatever. It's like, no, I'm not going to delete my channel because I mean what I said. That's the difference. This guy thinks that saying politically expedient things, the convenient things, is more important. Is more important than telling the truth. That's what a guy like him thinks is important. But no, you delete your channel, Tim, from USA, because you told people not to parrot you and not to steal your takes and not to support a channel for subversive reasons. No, fuck you. You delete your channel, Shield Trooper. You delete your channel. How about that? You stupid bitch. He acts like he was on our side. No, and maybe even he didn't, but his fans did, and the people who watched did. I had someone reach out, oh, I still like both of your channels. It's like, how can you? Because they're diametric opposites, right? Like, I'll just speak for myself, but if you want, lump the rest of the GK in there, it's like, hey, we stand for authenticity and truth, and he doesn't. Diametrically opposed. John Getz is here tonight. He thinks Anna is his girlfriend. Yeah. In the diss track. Gosh, do I have that? We got to close with that. If I have it, do I still have it uploaded? It's been a few, like at least a month, right? Since I came up with that. Yeah, we'll have to close with that. Let me see if I can throw it back in here. Go to my output folder. It's sorted by date. So there's the Gatekeepers Alliance. It doesn't change his story. Another great diss track. That's shilling. Here it is. So I'll upload that. It's uploaded because of my awesome internet speed. And we'll throw it into the playable clips here for when we do an outro. Yeah, he talks big behind, like I said, calling us idiots and liars and telling us to delete our channels and that stupid laugh. It's like a nervous laugh almost. Yep, Tales of the 100K video, day 34 at this point, because the 8th was 30 days, and I don't have the countdown updated, but this is what it looks like. It's the fraud alert. We need to use that, a variation of that for all fraud alerts, not just Shield Trooper. It should be out there to be used. Do him and Jacob use the same server for their AI wives? Yeah, good question. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And another funny part, because again, a lot of what he was saying I just heard for the first time tonight, because every time I pull that video up, I skip around and I get something different. But he compared himself to George for not having time to read the EU. He's like, I don't have time to read, and neither did your god George. It's like, wait a minute. You're comparing your life to George? To George Lucas 20, 30 years ago when he's making blockbuster movies and still trying to live a normal life and raise his kids and running several companies? You're telling me you don't have time to do it? Here's the difference. George did read. I doubt Shield Trooper reads at all. He just comes off as just an unread, like low IQ guy. Like, you have to read. You should always be reading a book. It doesn't matter if it takes a few months to read it, because people do get busy, but I carry one with me if I'm traveling or I have it on my phone. I've got the, whatever it is, Kindle, app, and I'll buy a book sometimes from an independent creator like Blaine Pardo's his mech series, stuff like that. And hopefully soon, you can download my stuff and read it. But you should always be reading a book. It doesn't have to be EU. There's all kinds of original science fiction, historical fiction, mysteries. Go back and read the Sherlock Holmes canon. Excellent stuff. Even though really toward the end of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's writings, a lot of repetitiveness. Like, I've read this story before, No, it's just that the plot in that mystery was very similar to one of the early Sherlock Holmes stories. But it's still the Sherlock Holmes canon, like always a solid recommendation. I finally finished reading the canon about 10 years ago. And then once you do that, go watch the Jeremy Brett Grenada television series, the best adaptations of Sherlock Holmes, period. He would have made a great Thrawn, like if they'd made Heir to the Empire trilogy in the 90s. Jeremy Brett. Can't even read. Yeah, it doesn't understand words. Precludes the possibility. Precludes the possibility. I got to do it in stereo. Precludes the possibility that it was Watto. Yeah, you don't even know what that means. Yeah. So anyway, guys, we have been going 2 hours, 15 minutes. We've spaced someone. We've exposed some people. We've looked at some booty. We're about to wrap it up here. So again, you heard what I said. If you're just showing up, rewind about our future plans for content. What we're going to do with multiple channels on Rumble. Sunday night stream plan with rotating streams, not in any particular order or any particular guests. And then the secret new channel and stream I'm going to start doing solo, all by myself, aka. So more to come on that once I'm really ready for it. But pretty excited about Rumble. Everyone is seeing a pretty good measure of success over there. If you just start up YouTube, especially now when they announced about a year ago that, hey, we're not going to push small creators anymore, it's going to take you forever. But Rumble, you seem to have a better shot at success over there. So everyone needs an account. And a lot of people reposted this morning. King Chris, Gabriel Knight. I think I saw SWA in my notifications on my phone. Make sure you get the app. Yeah, Rumble's where it's at. Brandon the Awesome says, George read the comics, GT. What's your excuse? Yeah, Grift Trooper. Yeah, I mean, he likes some of the comics because I think that's it takes him back to his childhood. George, it does, because he was into the Flash Gordon stuff and whatever else. So I think that's one of the main reasons he read the comics. And he read a lot of old science fiction. He read a lot of philosophy books, psychology, and that's why he's such a great storyteller, because he is a reader. He's still alive. People always talk about George in the past tense. He's still alive. So, but thank you for the 2 additional dollars.
I feel confident our situation will create a strong sympathy vote for us. I will be Chancellor.
Yeah, thanks, Justin, for that. It's a nice, convenient link on the Rumble side. I don't think YouTube has that. Yep, fuck YouTube and Google. Make Rumble great. We're doing it. We're doing it now in 2025. Yep. All right, guys. I'm starting to fade here, and I was working on an intro today for the political streams. It's going to be a badass intro. But yeah, rewind and watch from the start if you're just joining, please. We had a fun topic tonight around the Star Wars re-release in theaters. We talked about the KOTOR 2 remake and all that other stuff. So make sure you rewind it, listen to what I said about the plans for the channel, and share the link out there. Make sure you're following on as many accounts as possible and help us grow. Thanks, Gordon. Appreciate it. we'll see you soon. Probably not going to stream next week because I'll be really busy toward the end of the week, but I'll try. Even if it's a short one. I miss doing it when I can't do it. So thanks, guys. I'm going to leave you with the Shield Trooper diss track, Vash Shilling, on our way out. Here we go.
Lucas, damn, I'm glad y'all set it off. Better get that first order, helmet off. First you was down with the Ray, and now you going hard after TLJ. Nothing but a clown. Digging up your phantom from the lost and found. Look at the big helmet switch. When you get called out, you lie like a bitch. Siding with the shills and they talking points. Going to the same T-girl, exotic joints. If we graded Star Wars, cred using letters, you be known as a Zeta. Remember the time one of your posts exploded? Talking Disney Star Wars, you got community noted. Refusing to tag like a coward. Ducking me like that little bastard Howard. Taking your thumbnail on the PC path. Excluding the Grizz and Melvin like it'll save you from the rad. Trying to cherry pick targets in the GK. Epic failing, you'll continue just to be gay. All for one and one for all. While Script Trooper rides Abrams balls. DSW doesn't taste great, but to you it's less filling. You're getting conned by a Script Trooper and his vast shilling. Despite your name, you're going off script, but your political posts are dead like a crip. Going for the whack job conspiracy angle, showing your true stripes are like a bango. Looking like a tard with your rage bait shit takes. For your boyfriends, you wanna straight up split cakes. Like that SJW Lucky Kennedy, virgin loser who fucks imaginary entity. A get along gang of Star Wars illiterates, basing your success in life off the most Twitter hits. You got a big fat mouse in your pocket. Me and my girlfriend Anna, we just wanna talk it. The humiliation you're getting, I know in the lore. You gotta be tired of that ass being so sore, but who knows? Knowing you're ready and willing, you're getting conned by a Script Trooper and his vast shilling.